Hey, what's up everyone? Morey Croson here, and today we're going to be breaking down what happened between Erriyon Knighton and Noah Lyles. I'm going to start the video right now. This is the newest edition of the Performance Lab. Reach your individual goals. You don't want to just talk about straight line speed. We also want to talk about your ability to be quick. We break down your video. Let's make you into the quarterback I know you can become. All right, so this was a crazy race between Erriyon Knighton, the young 200 meters kind of specialist, right? Has been having a lot of success in 200 meter, did great in the heats in the semifinals. We had Noah Lyles, has had a long history of being dominant within the 200 meters, was world champion, also Olympic champion. And so there ends up being, it seemed like at the end, there's a bit of a rivalry between these two now. They definitely seem like they're going to be going at each other at the World Championships. Can't wait for that. And really, I think what ended up happening here, I almost feel like all that happened within the end of the race just really sets Erriyon Knighton to be able to really make some big adjustments, some big changes, and make the change that he needs to do to be able to potentially win the 200 meter. We'll just have to see what ends up happening there. But I want to go deeper into what happened in the race that caused Noah Lyles to win. So we're going to see coming around the turn, right? And when we see this, we see that Erriyon Knighton is way ahead. And we've seen this basically the entire time through the heats, through the semis. Erriyon Knighton just hits that turn so incredibly well. And so what we want to be able to see is we're going to go into this last 100, some of the information that we can get on this last 100. And what stands out is if we look to see the leg cycles, right? So we're going to say off the ground at 3.4 here, on the ground at 7.1. Okay, on the, yeah, that was the right leg. Okay, around 7.1, and then he's back off at about, the probably 7.8, 7.9. So he's really quick with his foot contact, right? Maybe about 0.7, let's just say that. Okay, and then we'll compare that to Noah Lyles. We'll go right leg as well. A little bit longer with his foot contact. We're going to say, we'll say 8.0 here. And then hitting the ground. This is probably when he's just starting to get going at about 1.4. Okay, so he's at 0.34. Right, in comparison to being able to get closer to 0.37 with Erriyon Knighton. So Erriyon Knighton's just taking a little bit longer stride. Okay, and then we see closer to the end here, what happens is Noah Lyles, 0.33, 0.73, 0.38, whatever, somewhere in there. Okay, but that's what the big change was. Okay, and there's, I think, a couple things that ended up happening. We'll go here, too. We'll go with Erriyon Knighton 4.6, just so we can get the full scope of what ended up happening. This one was maybe 8.6. So I've seen these ones closer to, because I did this before. I saw a lot of them that were closer to like 0.37. There was a couple of them that were 0.34, right? And usually these end up being in increments of 3, so that's why you're going to get, because they're capturing at about 0.03 of a second here. So we'll go 0.0 on this one. Right, so this one he lands like about 0.36, maybe 0.38. So he's typically a little bit closer to that 0.37, 0.38. A couple of them might have been a little bit longer. Okay, and the point is that Noah Lyles went from here closer to 0.34, so not nearly as long with his stride, to then be able to really open up his stride, right, to be able to catch Erriyon Knighton. Okay, and then we can even see foot contact time, probably about the same type of thing. So he just has great endurance, right? So we're looking here, boom, 0.88. Okay, off the ground, before 9.8, probably around that 0.08 time period. Okay, and we'll see Erriyon Knighton, 0.98. He's about off the ground there too, but I would say he's probably closer to 0.1, maybe 0.09, where I'd say Noah Lyles is probably 0.08, 0.09. Okay, so he's getting a good amount of distance per step, and he's spending not very much time on the ground there. So when he's first coming out of the curve, you can see 0.26, or maybe we'll get a little bit further down. Okay, he's here. Boom, 1.6. Off the ground, pretty quick, maybe about 0.09. Okay, but then when he gets later on into the race, what ends up happening is he loses some of that foot contact time. Okay, 0.83. Okay, he's about off at 9.3, but you can see his foot's still on the ground in comparison to it being fully off. Right? And so and then if we go 9.3 here to touching back on the ground at 3.0. Okay, so that's closer to 0.37. Right? Go to this one. So he's at 0.20 here. Okay, swings through, hits the ground. 0.56. Okay, so he kind of shortened up his stride. Okay, he might have gotten nervous. He might have gotten tired. I think part of it had to do with the fact that he is doing this a lot, right? Where we see him get way out in front in these races, right? In the heats, right? He gets way out in front on these curves, and then he just kind of coasts, right? He doesn't really have to run this whole time. Okay, so I think when he got here and he got, really had to run, I think he kind of shortened himself up a little bit. Okay, you can see, look at the difference between Noah Lyles, how much extension he's getting out in front, right? Where he's landing and he's getting that pull back down underneath. So he's fresh. His legs are still underneath him very, very well, right? Where you can see Erriyon Knighton is landing a lot further out in front of him. He's not nearly as good, or we can even get the closer view. Right? Look at how his foot's coming more out in front of him. Okay, where Noah Lyles is running closer to right underneath him. It's not a huge difference, but it's enough of a difference where you can see that it takes a toll, right? A little bit longer foot contact. Okay, a little bit shorter stride length. Okay, and that's important when it comes to some of these longer racers, like the 400 meter, right? You almost want to have more stride. Right, it's greater to have a little bit longer stride. But when it comes to the 200 meter, it's kind of in between. 100 meter, you want to be really fast with that leg cycle. So guys that are running the 100 meter are closer to typically 0.33, right? Maybe if you're a little bit taller, it can get into 0.36. Again, this is typically we're looking at this in the 300ths of a second. So we're somewhere in there, 0.33 to 0.36. Where it looks like with the 200 meters, we're between 0.37 to 0.40. Okay, and so being able to maintain that and still be able to cycle and get that foot underneath you. So if we start to shorten up, right, if we have a great leg cycle, great reach when we first get out of the curve, and then we'll end up with a shorter leg cycle, okay, then we know that there is some improvement that need to be made when it comes to top end speed. Okay, and also just being able to get kind of used to this situation. Right? You could just tell he got tense, right? When you're watching, you could just see that he got a little tense. He wasn't used to this. Where Noah Lyles is this is my thing. You could tell for him, it was very easy, very simple. This is where he wants to be able to catch people and hawk people down, right? And so he maintained great foot contact time because he landed with his foot more underneath him. Okay, I can guarantee you he landed with his feet or with his weight closer to the front part of his foot, where Erriyon Knighton was starting to land further back, right? Didn't have the same position as he did earlier on. And I think Erriyon Knighton should continue to just kill it in the curve, right? I don't think that he should go and try to, save himself for the end. I think he just needs to be able to stick to his mechanics instead of, tightening up. He needs to stick to what he had at the beginning of the race, right? And allow himself to be able to finish through strong. I would say he needs to continue to work on his 100. He needs to continue to work on his short distance stuff. So he could be great within that straightaway, even potentially 60 meters, right? And he can get into that top speed training. I hope that that's what he does. I hope he doesn't think, oh yeah, he needs to do a lot more endurance stuff and that ends up being the thing. The reason he got beat wasn't because of endurance, it's because Noah Lyles has a faster top speed. So Erriyon Knighton needs to work his top end speed to be able to withhold Noah Lyles in the World Championships and potentially win the World Championship gold. I know that that's what at the end of the day, that's what they're chasing. And I hope that's what he ends up doing. As always, if you like the information, click that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions, comments, or recommendations, you can leave those down below. Love doing these videos. Really appreciate anybody that likes and subscribes. That really makes a big, big difference. If you guys want to do a breakdown and be able to help yourself in improving as a sprinter, get more top speed, understand how to run these races better, get better at your start, get better at your drive phase, get better at your top end speed, get committed to a program that will make it so you can get there, we got all that. You can check it out in the description down below. We do have some free things down there as well, but I always recommend the programs because you can learn a lot more and get a lot better by doing that. So again, thanks for watching the video. Like, subscribe, and we'll talk to you soon.